Hey there, YouTube. This is Evil Joe with TeamEDM coming to you with a deck profile of a deck from 2009. Yeah. So I've kind of gotten more into building like older things, just because I think they're fun. And this is 2009 was actually one of my personal favorite formats, because while there was really kind of broken things, in fact very broken things, it wasn't quite, it still wasn't like insane. Like usually every deck took a couple turns to kind of set up. I mean, even the most devastating deck of 2009 was Light Swans, and even they took a few turns to kind of get their mills going and stuff. So, like, everything kind of took a couple turns to kind of set up, and it's also one of my more favorite formats because of how diverse the format was. There were already 4 top decks. That was Light Sworn, Synchro Cat, Glad Beasts, and Black Wings. And then there were other decks that could also still compete. I mean, those were the 4 best decks. And even with those, there were other decks that could, while they weren't up to the same standards, they could still compete. A deck like that would be Stardust Assault Mode, could compete in the format. It wasn't quite as strong as these other decks, but it was still solid on its own terms. So this was really kind of one of my more favorite old school formats. So I decided to rebuild one of the decks, and that deck is Synchro Cat. So yeah, I just kind of did this on a whim. So yeah, let's get started. So we have 3 X-Saber Airbound. This was your main tuner. This is really good. This is a hidden arsenal printing, which wasn't like, not all of these cards are in there at the time printing, but most of that doesn't matter as long as it's got the correct text. I thought it was fine. But this was hidden arsenal printing, which wasn't out yet, but luckily it came out in the starter deck that year. And so X-Sabers were around because of the starter deck. Or not X-Sabers, but this card was around because of the starter deck, which is really what allowed this deck to exist. If that starter deck didn't include this card, this deck would not have been a thing. Next we have the reason it was called Synchro Cat, and that's the 2 copies of Rescue Cat. This is just one of those cards on the ban list that just cannot come back because of all the loops with it, and this and Glad Beast is basically what started it all. Then we got 2 Summon One. Get the Rescue Cats or Rose Warrior Revenge out of your deck and do big plays. Then we got our Gravekeeper 3-card engine of 2 Spy, 1 Guard. The reason you play the 1 guard is just in case you happen to draw both of these. But it was also still a good card because of the whole 1900 butt and the whole bouncing cards back. And if it hit like a Stardust Dragon or Colossal Fighter, it could be just really devastating. Then we got our Searchers of Mystic Tomato and Sangan. These are just really strong. Mr. Tomato basically searched. They both basically searched anything in the deck. Tomato, of course, only the dark stuff, but the dark stuff led you to everything else because it could search Sangan straight to the field, or it could search Summer Monk straight to the field. Then we got our remaining beasts of 1 Dark Panther, 1 Raikou, and 1 Sea Koala. Then we got our final tuners of Blackwing Gale and Rose Warrior Revenge. Just a level 3 tuner that could have things, and a level 4 tuner. That's basically what Rose's purpose was level 4 tuner. But if it was attacking directly, dealing 1900 points of damage was kind of cool. And then we got our big main deck monsters of Dark Armed Dragon and Gores. So that's it for the monsters. Spells. We'll start off with the Spell and Trap Hate. Can't really call it removal because it's not all removal. Because we start off with the 2 copies of Cold Wave, which is ridiculous that this card at one point was even at. And it's kind of ridiculous that this card was reprinted. Nevertheless, at one point considered a bad card, but the past formats before this was starting to see Cold Wave see a massive rise in play, just because preventing the opponent from setting cards was absolutely insane. Then we got Heavy Storm, Giant Trunade, and your 1 copy of MST. MST was at 1. Only 1 of these is not banned. Only the MST is not banned from all that. Then we got our Change of Possession spells, which is 2 copies of Mind Control and Brain Control. It just really, this was just so good because of you ran enough tuners. You run a total of 5 tuners. So just having all this just ready to go, it's just instilling anything that your opponent tries to put on the field and then syncing with it is absolutely nuts. And brain for game was a thing. Then we got 2 copies of Book of Moon and Smashing Ground as our monster disruption, I guess I call it. Then our final 3 spells is 2 copies of Pot of Avarice and Monster Reborn. Yeah, so these cards were around, which is kind of nuts. Like, so many of these spells are now banned. It's just kind of nuts. The traps aren't much different either, because we start off with what was a staple of the format, which was 3 copies of Solemn Judgment. They're all different rarities, which kind of bugs me, but it's overall fine. But yeah, this was just ridiculous that they had 3 copies of Solemn Judgment at this point in time. In my personal opinion, Solemn Judgment could come off the list because it doesn't stop enough nowadays to really be worthwhile. But at this point in the game, this stopped everything. There was the only thing that could really get around it was Gores. So whatever your opponent tried to do, you could always solve it, which is just absolutely insane. Then we got our monster removal of 2 Bottomless and Torrential. And then our final 2 cards are both banned, which is 1 copy of Royal Oppression, and this card's technically not banned anymore, but its original this is with its original text, which was absolutely insane and just was completely devastating. In fact, it got banned after this format. It started out as as a Showman Jump prize card, and just was ridiculous. And then it got released to the general public, and just, if you did not have this card, you were not going to win. So yeah. So that was the main deck. It's 41 cards. So yeah. Then we'll go on to the extra deck. I don't really have a side deck built because I don't expect to play a lot of 2009 matches. But yeah, I have the deck built. That's the main deck. So now we can move on to the extra deck. This extra deck is really white because it's all synchros. So Army Arm, just a generic level 4 tuner, or not tuner, synchro, that just allowed you to beef up your monsters. One magical android, like I said, Hidden Arsenal was not released yet, so we did not have access to Allied Justice Cataster. And then one Gaia Knight Force of Earth and one Goyle. Gaia Knight is obviously, we didn't have Bryanak yet. And then Goyle was just kind of, just really ridiculous at this point in the game. Then we got 2 copies of Arcanite Magician. It became a 2400 attack monster, so they could beat over stuff, and then it popped things, which was really nice. I mean, this is probably the second, in my opinion, probably the second best synchro in the deck. Then we got Xavier Herbellum, which is level 7 synchro that could do hand disruption. Black Rose Dragon, this card was insane. Blackwing Armor Master, you play the Gale, so because you play the Gale, you play this. So yeah. Then we got 2 copies of Dark Strike Fighter, the best synchro in this deck. It's kind of terrible now because of the errata, but at this point, like I said, original text. At this point and back then, this was the fastest card to ever be banned. It's only ever been matched since by the Baby Rulers and Spellbook of Judgment. And the only reason this card was ever able to come off the list is because of the errata, which now makes it absolutely horrible. But at this point, it was ridiculously broken. And then our level 8 synchros of Stardust, Thought Ruler Archfiend, Colossal Fighter, and Red Dragon Archfiend. So that's the deck. Tell me what you think. I am putting together 2 other kind of old school decks. One is 2009 Lightsworn, so that was the best deck of this format, and I am using a lot of, you won't see any matches between the 2 because I am like splitting the cards between each other, but I'm just kind of putting it together too. And then the other one I'm putting together is Guild Control. That one's a lot farther off. The only real thing I don't have yet for the Lightsworns, I'm getting my final 2 Lumina and Gareth, should be this week, and then I'll just be missing the JDs at that point, which is actually tending to be a little bit hard to find. But yeah, until then, or whatever my next video is, I might do another video soon because I've almost completed the upgrades on my Monarch deck, so I might post that soon. But until then, this is TeamEDM, and I'm out.